about y'all, but I just like to jump right into it. So let's go to work. Let's see. We've got FlutterFlow. FlutterFlow is pretty well known for its ease of building applications and all these catchphrase, these marketing buzzwords, right? Beautiful UI, clean code, which is actually pretty good. When it comes to maintaining code on its own, it can be quite the lift. So what we want to do is start an account for free. Once we do that, we'll be able to log in. A couple of things before I get off this page. This is where you're going to start for free and you'll build out an account. And once your account has been created, you can do it using Google, Apple, GitHub, Microsoft login, or just create an email password. Or you can just log in if you already got a login. Now, the other part I want to show you before we get into the app part of it is the docs. Every time I get onto one of these new platforms, and you'll see me do it every time, is that I'll open up the docs just to familiarize myself with what's here and what's available, and to have it ready when I've got questions and I run into issues. So we've got our docs open. I got there by clicking on this docs link there, and it opened up the documentation for FlutterFlow, and they have videos, right? So as you're taking these different steps, you'll get the videos that'll help guide you in your app building journey. So let's see here. So I logged into FlutterFlow, and this is what the dashboard looks like. Looks like here we can create a new one. We can create a label for maybe like a group of applications that we're maybe labeling. We've got all these different, looks like you can save your projects on your private projects or shared, or any project that has been shared with you. You can switch between dark and light mode, and the marketplace. So this is what's really cool about these kinds of platforms, is that they have pre-made things that you can use, right? So that way you don't have to rebuild something like this nav bar with the middle button, with the new button in the middle. These things have already been built out, and so we don't have to rebuild any of this stuff. So if we want, we can come down and take a look and grab something and roll with it. But I'm going to do something from the beginning, just something kind of simple, because I want to get comfortable in the studio. So this is the create project here. So let's see, we'll give the project a name. I'm going to call this demo, and it gives me a couple of templates I can follow. Looks like it comes with 19 screens. It's got APIs. Some of them are, so these are built out. These are built apps already that you can just start from. But let's go create a blank application. We'll leave it as demo. This is where we would set up Firebase, which is a NoSQL database that Google owns, and so you can set up a Firebase database, build all your backend stuff in that, and that way your application is supported by a database. But for now, we're going to skip that, because all I want to do is just do something kind of, like I said, just try to keep it simple here. So right now I'm going to get rid of this top bar and the column in here. This is just a blank page. Top right, this is where I can run my projects. If I do a test run, this allows me to set up an environment, and it takes a couple of minutes, but what it does, it'll compile all the code, build an app out, and then show you the screen. So you'll see what the end user is going to look at when they start to use your application. So with this being built, it should just be a blank screen like that. So while we're here, some of the things I want to do, it looks like here is where we can add all of these different widgets, adding text and column layouts and containers and images and buttons. And so some of the, let's go ahead and go, we can add pages here. So some of the kind of fundamental things to do whenever we're messing around, this is kind of like a traditional thing, right? When we're building applications, we want to do, I got notification that my test environment's ready. Cool. We want to do the hello world thing, right? So here on this page, what I want to do is, let's get some text on here. and you see it puts my text up in the top left corner of the home page. And so when I click on home page, you see home page is selected right now, or home page is selected here. I've got properties that are specific for the home page. And if I click on the text, which in this hierarchy is on the home page, the child item to the home page, I get all of the properties for that. I can see my text. If I scroll down, I can look at how, if I want it bold. Let's increase the font so it makes it easier for us to see this thing. We can do where we want the text aligned, and this text alignment is where is it aligned inside of the text box, so not inside of the home page. But if we want to position this item inside the home page somewhere, so the way that we would do that is we would go into the text box, and let's see, we've got padding. So padding is gonna determine where it's at on the home screen. Okay, yeah. So we can adjust padding top, left, bottom. Or what we can do is the alignment here, and I believe this alignment, yeah, within its parent. So this is where it's positioned within the parent. So right now it's at the top left. What's top right? Here goes top right, and that's the middle right, and that's the bottom right, and that's the middle of the screen. Cool. So that's pretty. It's not exciting, but at least we're starting to understand how we can place elements on a page and start to move it around. Some of these I think they can be moved around. Oh, maybe not. It seems like it's locked in place, and that's for good reason. When we're building out applications, you really want them to be really uniform, because that's what the human eye was going to find most pleasing and less distracting, right? So in order for us to have that, to be able to do that, they really put these real quick alignments. If you want to adjust things, you mess around with the padding and stuff. So this is how we get hello world to show up, right? We just put a text box, boom, hello world, all done. Now how about we do something a little bit more interesting? So when I click the button, I want to hide the text, and when I click the button again, I want to show the text. And I actually want the button to tell me, you know, what it's gonna do when I click it. So what I mean by that, instead of saying button, I want to change the text of the button to say let's go to say show text. So when I click this button, I want the text to be shown. So one of the ways I can set this up so that, let me see here. So here, app state. So these are some variables that we can create, and the reason we want to create a variable is because the condition as to whether or not to show an object, show text, we'll call the variable show text. This will be a boolean, and the persisted means that if the app is restarted or shut off or whatever, it still remembers that state. We don't care about that right now. We'll hit create. And so we've got a boolean variable that's called show state or show text. And so the conditional state for the conditional visibility, this is how we determine, hey, do we want to show this thing or not? And so I want to set it to false. So what I've done is I clicked the button on, I clicked in here to set a variable, and I want to use a variable that I just created. So it's under app state and show text, and right now the value of show text should be false. So let's go ahead and take a look at our test. Let me do an instant reload. And as you can see, or can't see, the text is gone. So that variable that has been set to false is there. And we've got a button, but the button doesn't do anything. So let's go ahead and add the functionality for that. I'm going to click on this button. I actually want to add some padding to the top of the button so things don't look so crowded there. All right. So right now, when I click on this button, nothing happens. All right. Well, let's go in and add an action. Alright, so now when we click the button, it shows the text. We click it again, it doesn't show it to us. Close that. So, how about we change this to, again, show text. Change this to show text. And then how about we make this like kind of like a variable here, because what I want to do now is use a conditional for the button text. So check this out. So if let's see, if the, let's go with app state. So if the variable show text, if it's true, if it's true that the variable show, that means the text box is showing, then I want this to say hide text. Else I want this to say the opposite. I want it to say show text. So confirm, and let's go ahead and do an instant reload on the app here. Watch our environment getting set up. So the idea is, I click this, if the text is here visible, it'll say hide text for the button, and then if the text isn't visible, it will say show text. So that way we give a little bit more specific instruction to the end user. So here's the button, it says show text. I click that and the text shows up, and it still says show text. So let's do an instant reload just to make sure that the changes we made, right, for this if then this condition here, hide text. So if this is true, set it to hide text, and if it's false, then show text, and that is correct. Let's give it a moment. Here we go. Hide text, show text, hide text, show text. That's a little bit more exciting than just a normal text box. Cool. And that's just getting started with the capabilities of this platform. There's a whole lot more in here, and we're going to be taking this thing one day at a time, learning something new together. If you guys got any questions or thoughts on anything, just comment down below, let me know, and of course, I'll see you on the next one.